Hey everyone, a really warm welcome back to the channel. Well, it's getting a bit chilly, so the jacket's gone on and the scarf as well. So today I wanted to talk to you about a few little things that don't warrant a whole video on their own, but make life a lot easier. And the first one of those is towels. Yes, I know, the excitement of towels. And of course, the really important thing in this van is that the towels are as compact as possible. But sorry to disappoint, I'm stereotypically female when it comes to towels, and I must have a towel that is at least the size of a small continent to wrap myself in. There is no drying myself with a flannel or something the size of a postage stamp. No, it must be a proper size towel. But can you imagine how much room 4 fluffy bathroom towels take up? Yeah, it's not practical in a van, is it? Anyway, most people's solution is microfiber towels, and indeed we have used microfiber towels. We've used both the smooth finish ones, the very plain ones, and we've also used some of the really fluffy ones. Decathlon is a good source of towels, but thanks to my sister-in-law, we discovered Turkish towels, which in my opinion are infinitely better than microfiber. I don't know about you, but you know, when you wrap in microfiber, I feel cold. I don't feel that it's drying me at all. Maybe I just need to wash them an awful lot more. But certainly using them the first 4, 5, 6, 7 times, I haven't got them to the state yet even where they don't feel like they're just pressing cold water onto you when you try and dry yourself with them. The fluffy ones are better than the smooth ones, but still not very good. So let me show you what Turkish towels we've got. They're up here in the storage bag, so excuse me a moment. Now, these are just fairly cheapy ones that I picked up from Amazon, and I've gone for yellow ones with cords on the bottom. That seems to be the main brand out there, and grey ones. You can see they're not ironed. I don't iron towels. So we've got 2 greys and 2 yellows, and in fact I got some extra ones so that I could cut them in half and make a sort of hair shroud thing. And these are absolutely brilliant because, I mean, look at the size of that. Look how small that folds up, and yet in use it comes out too big. I can't even get it in the camera lens. Look at that. So I mean, that's just about big enough to cover all the vital bits that need covering, and it wraps all the way around and overlaps. So what's that? It's about 80 by 180. Maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's a meter by 180. I'll put the proper dimensions on the screen when I look them up. And these are absolutely great. So you get these, and they're a really thin sort of cottony fabric. Can you see that? So it's just a cotton, and most of them are made from decent quality sort of Egyptian cotton, even though they're Turkish towels. It's just the style. And you get them, and they feel a bit rough, you know, like linen feels before it's been washed very much. And you think that's just like a tea towel really, but you know, that's exactly how they work. So you put them on you, even if you're absolutely soaking wet straight out the shower or straight out of a dip in the sea or whatever, and it just instantly just sucks all the moisture in. So when you're using them, they get really, really wet. So, you know, the colour changes and they feel really wet to touch. But then you hang them up, and they're dry in no time at all. So these are infinitely better, I think, than microfiber towels. Pure cotton, so you can get some responsibly sourced stuff, and I'll put a link down below to these things. And not only do I use them as towels, but because the pack I bought had 4 of these in, and I only actually needed 3 yellows and 2 for towels and 2 for hair thingies, I had a spare one, so I cut it up and turned it into tea towels. So now we're all matching everywhere, which adds to this sense of calmness and togetherness, because we don't have a random mishmash of stuff. So let's jump into the sewing room, more commonly known as the kitchen, and I'll just show you how I did some simple hems on those. So here we go. Hemming is really easy, especially with lovely flat non-stretchy cottons like this. All you need to do is fold the edge over twice and then stitch nice straight line that holds everything in place. I tend to follow the fairly simple approach of fold it once, pin it, and then fold it again, and then move the pins as you're stitching down the line itself. That may be the lazy approach. Other people use hand tacking stitches to hold things into place. If you're new to sewing, just take a moment to think about which way up you want the fabric to go through the machine at, and therefore which end you need the pointy end of the pins in to make your life much easier, so that as you're stitching along you can pull out from the handle end. Makes life a lot easier. Now this is certainly not an expert sewing channel, and a lot of people put their pins across the seam and then they just stitch over the top of them as they go and then take them out afterwards. I think they do that because that leads to a flatter seam, but I seem to break an awful lot of machine needles when I try and do that. Maybe my pins are too thick or something, so I don't tend to. And in sewing this sort of fabrics, then I don't need to worry too much about the flatness of the seam, so it's certainly not an issue with this sort of thing. Might be with much finer fabrics. Alright, so that's what we did for towels, you know, helping everybody get dry as quickly as possible. They just live in the van all the time because, you know, we do bits of kayaking and whatever, so we've got a set of van towels. It just saves all the time involved with moving stuff in and out of the house. So as soon as they've been used, they get washed and they come back out to the van, get stored in here. And I suppose in an absolute emergency, they could be used as extra blankets, couldn't they? So that's towels. Tip number 2 is to do with being a short arse. And I bought this little hop-up step thing, which I'll put on the screen in a moment, and that just helps me to be able to get up at the front of the van itself if I need to adjust something on the roof rack, or I don't know, if I need to clean the top of the windscreen that I can't reach from ground level, which is a common occurrence, without having to get the big ladder out. So that makes life a lot easier. Here is a little step, a little black cloth bag there, and then this solid lump of metal, which is the step, with the hook that's hinged out in the center. And then on the front here, this is supposed to be a window escape glass emergency banger thing. And then on the back here's a big lump of rubber so that nothing scratches the paintwork. And then in theory this hook just hooks on over the car door hook receiver thing here, and then spreads the load of your weight up there. Hopefully that is strong enough for weight hanging off it not to bend it. I guess so, because it's cantilevered onto the body of the van shell itself. And then just hop your foot up there, and that's how it should work. The only issue with this thing is, if you've got short little legs like me, the distance between the normal step and this thing is still quite large. And then I've got the added issue that I've had quite a lot of surgery as well on one of my legs, so it makes it quite difficult to hop up that sort of distance. But that's okay, I've got 2 boys and a husband who can be deployed if I can't reach all the way up there. Anyway, let's go and see if it fits on the other side, which will be easier for me personally, but there is a slightly different shape on that side because of the fuel fill point. Let's try the other side. Not very flat there, so it sits on a bit of a funny angle. Alright, and the last little tip of the day is to do with umbrella holders. So I don't know about you, but we're forever getting caught in little rainstorms. Obviously, if rain is due or it's raining, people come out with their coats on. But quite often, if you're out for the whole day, it might start raining a bit unexpectedly later. So I like to keep a couple of umbrellas in the van. And you don't want them just spread around anywhere, because first off, you can't find them, and second off, they're getting in the way. So I fitted 2 little umbrella holders in a nice out-the-way spot that isn't used for anything else, and therefore the umbrellas are always there to hand, which makes life much easier. You can grab them on the way. But there were a few little problems, as we'll see in a minute, connected with the plastics that are in the van. So watch on and see how I solve those. Alright, so as you can see, at first all I did was to figure out where to put the holders, clean the surface over with the ever useful IPA, isopropyl alcohol, to make sure there's no grease or muck or anything on there, and then stuck them down. And everything seemed absolutely fine. The usual approach when sticking these sort of things on is to try and wait about 24 hours before putting any load on them. So I just stuck the holders on and left the umbrellas out. So usually 24 hours would give enough time for the surfaces to sort of meld together and the glue to come to full strength. But the next morning, both holders were on the carpet, having fallen off at some point during the night. If you've seen any of the videos in this series that involve sticking anything onto the plastic trim that's standard in this van, you will know full well that it's really, really difficult to find a compatible material, so a compatible tape that will actually stick onto this plastic. I haven't yet worked out what sort of plastic it is, but it works with hardly any of the supposedly extra strong tapes, and things just fall off constantly. And what a surprise, the extra strong tape which came with these umbrella holders doesn't work on here either. The only thing I found which does work is this No More Nails tape. So the next morning, stripped down the original tape, that was pretty easy, and got all the fluff and so on off, and then re-cleaned everything with IPA. Very simple job, just to peel it, and then applied the No More Nails on the holders and then stuck them on to the van itself and left it the obligatory 24 hours. Here we go, months and months later, and they're still stuck on. And of course we have 2 umbrellas to hand wherever we go. Just perfect. Alright, so that's it for today's tips. Just a few little things which make life much easier around here, so I wanted to share them with you. If you want to pick up the same things, do the same things in your own vehicle, or for your beach lounger, then there's links to the exact things that I've used down in the description below, and you can get to the correct products. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Share any top tips, of course, in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next one. So bye for now. See ya.